Unit 8. Spell. The extended dry spell caused water shortages. Exempt. These imports are exempted from tax. Illiberal. We strongly protested against the illiberal policies. Havoc. Heavy snow caused havoc all over the country. Lobby. They are lobbying hard for the bill. Imposing. He was a more imposing person than his predecessor. Retaliation. The U.S. started to attack the country in retaliation for the terrorism. Tint. The liquid has a greenish tint. Rig. The election was rigged in favor of the ruling party. Rendezvous. She had a secret rendezvous with her ex-boyfriend that night. Scorn. His idea was scorned by most scientists. Livestock. We are raising a wide variety of livestock.
Holistic. We tried a holistic approach to the problem. Reconcile. We must reconcile our ideals with reality. Probe. The police have launched a probe into the incident. Agrarian. India is one of the largest agrarian countries in the world. Paralysis. The injury caused paralysis of my left hand. Fatally. Their plan was fatally flawed in some respects. Palate. She was born with a sensitive palate. Impunity. They were selling illegal drugs with impunity. Degrade. This herb can degrade the specific poison. Perilous. The country is politically in a perilous situation. Scavenge. A flock of crows were scavenging for food. Upstart. He is an upstart and doesn't deserve his current position.
Milestone. The opening of this plant is an important milestone in the history of our company. Presume. The accused are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Polytheistic. People here believe in a polytheistic religion. Denomination. He sorts bills by denomination in his wallet. Heed. Please heed warning signs. Repository. Proverbs are repositories of folk wisdom. Leverage. They no longer have any leverage against us. Elimination. The charcoal is used for elimination of smell. Rampant. Drug abuse is rampant in this area. Feudal. Resistance is futile, said the police. Sovereign. She was the first female sovereign of the country. Chafe. The students chafed at the strict control by teachers.
Communal. I grow some vegetables in a communal farm garden. Homogeneous. Japan tends to be considered a homogeneous society. Encroach. They encroached illegally into the forest reserve. Oppress. The workers were severely oppressed. Hover. The average temperature of the area hovers at around 18 degrees Celsius. Sterile. These seeds are made sterile by genetic engineering. Cumulative. He studies the cumulative effects of exercise on health. Commodity. Oil became a more valuable commodity. Dog. The player has been dogged by knee injuries. Scapegoat. Video games are often made a scapegoat for youth violence. Spouse. A spouse is someone you are legally married to. Inhibit. A lower birth rate could inhibit economic growth.
Sprawl. Agricultural land is disappearing because of urban sprawl. Humiliate. They were humiliated in public. Toxic. The material gives off toxic fumes when it burns. Vault. The thief vaulted over the guardrail and ran away. Emigrate. Her grandparents emigrated to Brazil. Filthy. Many streets in that area are filthy with litter. Tariff. The country abolished the tariff on U.S. beef. Barren. It is hard to imagine that area was once a barren desert. Cherish. She cherishes her cat very much. Withhold. The information was withheld for security reasons. Reside. The problem resides in his inability to control himself. Deficit. They are seeking ways to reduce the budget deficit.
Haunt. Bitter memories of my childhood always haunt me. Hull. The hull of the ship got heavily damaged. Confer. To acknowledge her work, an honorary doctorate degree was conferred on her. Traitor. He was convicted as a traitor and sentenced to death. Plea. The company ignored their pleas to stop the plant construction. Explicit. The article included explicit references to the singer's life. Ballot. More than 90% of the voters cast their ballots for him. Nuisance. Spam emails are a nuisance. Haphazardly. Small houses have been built haphazardly on the hillside. Compatible. His blood type is compatible with that of the patient. Orchestrate. He orchestrated the merger of the two companies. Regress. The patient's maturity regressed to a 5-year level.
Inject. You need to inject insulin 4 times a day. Fanatically. He has some fanatically religious friends. Treason. He was arrested for treason against the country. Frail. The patient has looked increasingly frail. Compassion. We ought to have compassion for the elderly. Beneficiary. Rich people are the major beneficiaries in this system. Odious. The cave was filled with an odious smell. Annex. Texas was annexed by the United States in 1845. Inept. He is inept at communicating with others. Agitate. The group agitated for the amendment of the Constitution. Conspiracy. He is said to have been a party to the conspiracy. Equivocal. She gave an equivocal answer to my question.
Terse. She gave a terse no comment when I asked about her divorce. Sprout. The seeds sprouted 2 weeks after sowing. Modicum. We also need a modicum of luck to win the game. Debit. The camping goods store debited his account for the tent he purchased. Novelty. Email was a novelty at that time. Classified. Very few people have access to this classified information. Solidarity. He expressed his solidarity with the Tibetan people. Diameter. This circle is 2 feet in diameter. Detention. The man has remained in detention since his arrest. Genial. She is of a genial social disposition. Relentless. The sales targets put relentless pressure on the workers. Adulation. His novel won him public adulation.
Upstage. He only played a bit role and upstaged the leading man. Steer. This wheelchair can be steered by brainwaves. Obligatory. A bike helmet is not obligatory in the country. Malady. Economic problems are the main source of the social malady. Pious. She is a very pious woman who attends church every week. Divert. Construction to divert the river started. Hypnosis. The doctor put the patient under hypnosis. Proclivity. She has a proclivity for exaggeration. Submerge. The flood submerged thousands of houses. Redeem. The great performances of the actors redeem the flaws in the story. Dormant. The volcano has remained dormant since 1859. Expunge. All personal data will be expunged from the record.
Taciturn. He is taciturn by nature. Extravagant. His extravagant spending habits caused him to get into debt. Lackluster. He was blamed for his lackluster sales performance. Translucent. The light is passing through the translucent screen. Reclaim. He aims to reclaim the heavyweight title. Copious. These mountains provide us with copious amounts of water. Crude. He gave a crude estimate of the cost for the project. Tribute. She wrote this song as a tribute to her dead mother. Excruciatingly. The medical treatment was excruciatingly painful. Strenuous. Developing a new market is a strenuous task. Usher. She ushered me into her office. Leftover. I don't feel like throwing away leftover food.
Repulse. We were repulsed by a heap of garbage on the beach. Temperament. He has an artistic temperament and is very sensitive. Elucidate. Research is needed to elucidate the reasons for the inflation. Serene. We took a walk along the serene beach. Oblivious. They are oblivious to the global environmental crisis. Disgruntled. Disgruntled employees crowded into the president's office. Deliberation. After much deliberation, they decided to accept the offer. Spurious. The report was based on spurious information. Assail. She assailed the government's economic policies. Benefactor. She is the founder and benefactor of the school. Replete. Nature is replete with mysteries. Atrocity. The troops committed many atrocities during the war.
Formidable. They managed to beat their formidable opponent in the match. Averse. The actor is averse to public appearances. Legislate. They are asking the government to legislate against abortion. Disheveled. Her clothing was disheveled. Coax. The kids coaxed their father into taking them to the amusement park. Composure. He lost his composure and screamed. Obsolete. These types of games have become obsolete in the past few years. Hectic. Sorry for the delay in replying, but things have been hectic. Wage. The party is waging a vigorous election campaign. Berate. His boss berated him for being lazy. Quiver. His lips quivered as he spoke to the audience. Inoculate. The school students have been inoculated against polio.
Aesthetically. This product is not only aesthetically appealing, but also functional. Vicious. The trainer turned the vicious dog into a gentle pet. Consummate. The two big companies consummated the merger. Hilarious. It was a hilarious movie. Subsidence. This region is subject to subsidence due to groundwater extraction. Waver. She never wavered in her opposition to the war. Verge. The bird is on the verge of extinction. Discrepancy. There are some discrepancies between the two sets of data. Tedium. I wanted to escape from the tedium of lying in the hospital bed. Despicable. Child abuse is extremely despicable. Intimate. We have been intimate friends for 20 years. Discern. I discerned clear differences in their behavior patterns.
Incipient. Use a fire extinguisher in the incipient stage of a fire. Transient. He was a transient moving from place to place. Treacherous. The climbers went on the treacherous mountain road. Indicative. The presence of fireflies is indicative of good water quality. Coarse. This cloth is very hard and coarse. Gluttonous. 2 gluttonous guys competed in a hot dog eating contest. Amicable. They enjoyed an amicable relationship even after their divorce. Quarantine. That dog was kept in quarantine for 30 days. Disoriented. I became disoriented in the thick fog. Squint. She squinted into the microscope. Conceit. She is full of conceit. Rancor. I have no rancor against anybody.
Fastidious. He is known as a fastidious director. Torture. The police tortured him to extract confessions. Agonize. I agonized over what to wear for the job interview. Morose. She looked morose and did not answer any questions. Dismal. The men had to work in fairly dismal conditions. Assimilate. She seems completely assimilated into American society. Affix. He affixed a label to the box. Subsistence. Subsistence farmers account for the majority of the country's farmers. Transcendent. Leonardo da Vinci was a transcendent genius. Curtly. He answered my question curtly. Surrogate. She sent a surrogate to the conference. Confidential. These documents will be treated as confidential.
Rustic. The rustic charm of the village attracts many tourists. Eulogy. She delivered a moving eulogy at the funeral. Opulent. This is the most opulent house I've ever seen. Impartiality. We tried to maintain impartiality toward all participants. Flamboyantly. She was dressed flamboyantly as ever. Moot. The argument has become moot due to a change in circumstance. Evoke. The neutral colors of the painting evoked a feeling of calm. Discharge. She was discharged from the Navy. Conspicuous. There is a conspicuous lack of study relating to this field. Demeanor. She maintained her polite demeanor during the ceremony. Destitute. Thousands of people were left destitute after the Civil War broke out. Dissolution. This dissolution of the labor contract cannot be justified.
Pledge. The Prime Minister is determined to honor his election pledge. Edible. We gathered some edible wild plants. Roundabout. He said yes, though in a roundabout way. Arrogant. His arrogant attitude alienated his friends. Pandemonium. There was pandemonium as soon as he appeared. Facade. Beneath her cheerful facade lies a dark past. Recklessly. The man who caused the accident had been continuing to drive recklessly. Propriety. We are expected to observe the proprieties. Remuneration. He hasn't received remuneration for his work yet. Shrewd. She is a shrewd politician who knows how to deal with the media. Proceeds. All the proceeds from this event will go to charity. Showdown. He showed his ability when it came to a showdown.
Yardstick. Material wealth is not the only yardstick for success. Progeny. His noble qualities are passed on to his progeny. Sheer. I was intimidated by the sheer size of the book. Massacre. Thousands of people died in the massacre. Rash. It would be rash to make a decision now. Decry. They are decrying the lack of library services in the city. Empower. The cabinet is empowered to appoint judges. Ruthless. He is a ruthless politician and will do anything to gain power. Bent. Her family has a musical bent and everyone plays an instrument. Bland. The movie was bland and forgettable. Status quo. The election results show that many people prefer the status quo. Exorcise. An old woman was called to exorcise evil spirits.
Gaunt. His sunken eyes and his gaunt face seemed almost skeletal. Mesmerized. Mr. Miller has been totally mesmerized by her beauty. Recur. The pain recurred after several hours. Gait. A lion walked away with a leisurely gait. Sedate. The hotel is located in a sedate town. Churn. She helped her mother churn milk into butter. Affable. She's affable and always smiling. Decoy. The police used him as a decoy to arrest the drug dealer. Intuitive. Her point rings true on an intuitive level. Pretentious. The restaurant is overpriced and pretentious. Unearth. An unexploded bomb was unearthed at the construction site. Fraternity. He belonged to the Masonic fraternity.
Gimmick. This is just a gimmick to attract tourists. Shroud. His past is shrouded in mystery. Empirically. The scientist's theory was proven empirically. Snare. They set up snares for rabbits. Panacea. Although this is a great technology, it is not a panacea. Vigilant. A pilot must always remain vigilant during the flight. Judicious. It seems judicious to accept her offer. Ominous. The sky was covered with ominous gray clouds. Diverge. We diverged from the planned route. Sumptuous. We enjoyed a sumptuous dinner on the top floor of the hotel. Indebted. I am deeply indebted to Ms. Miller for her valuable advice. Threshold. She stands on the threshold of adulthood.
Data file. Inefficiency. Inequality. Inexhaustible. Inexperienced. Injustice. Insane. Insufficient. Invalid. Intolerant. Misapply. Misconceive. Misdeed. Misidentification. Misjudge. Mismanagement. Mistrust. Misunderstand. Mistrial. Non-binding. Non-corporate. Non-existent. Non-legal. Non-native. Overconfidence. Overcrowding. Overestimate. Overfeed. Overhead. Overreliance. Overtime. Overwork. Postmodernism. Postpartum. Predestined. Prehistoric. Pre-modern. Reassessment. Reassignment. Rebook. Rebuild. Recapture. Reclassify. Reconsider. Reconvene.